Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Lee, and today I want to talk about UX research. I learned about how to apply UX research to product design at work, and from that experience, I created a remote research toolkit at my current team, used by multiple designers on a daily basis. Let me show you a sneak peek into what's included in the research toolkit and how you can apply this to your own work. Let's dig in! I created the remote research toolkit for both my current team and my previous team, but since both documents contain confidential information, I've created a separate one for external use. It's a much simplified version, but it still contains all the information and guidelines I've created for work. Today's agenda includes what is user research, when to do it and its benefits, user research approach, methods and tools, and user research checklist. Before we get into the fun and practical stuff with methods and checklist, let's quickly go over the basic foundation of user research. User research is not only usability testing, but rather we investigate the broader problem space to identify opportunities worth solving and bring them to solution space to explore optimal ways to support our users. When a product is just getting developed and there is no visible product yet, we go through a design discovery phase. And here we have the ability to jump from both the problem space and the solution space, where we can explore our end users' goals, responsibilities, pain points, and wish lists, and bring them to our design space before it gets fully developed. Of course, research is needed every cycle of development. However, it definitely makes a huge difference when it is done in the beginning stage of development cycle. User research helps us to understand our target users, their behaviors, needs, motivations, and it occurs through the entire journey, not only while interacting with our product or service directly. So, who are user researchers? User researchers act as a bridge between customers or users and the product, engineering, and company leadership team. They distill learnings from their research into easily digestible stories and artifacts to inform how product development teams solve user problems and design the best user experience, evaluate assumptions, evaluate solutions, assess the impact of a product. So when do they decide to do user research? The trigger points of conducting research are when you aim to create big impact, when you have more questions than answers about a problem, if a team uses assumptions and make-believe, when you do feel overwhelmed by information, and when you have challenges to prioritize. The benefits of doing research during development cycle. There are tons of benefits to doing research in any point of cycle, but here are a few that I've come up with. Research brings you closer to the people you intend to help. It removes biases. It answers critical questions about your users. It enables you to make design decisions based on evidence. Research facilitates decision-making with facts and insights, prioritizing always user needs first. Without users, there's no product. It's that easy. It helps you understand principles and reasoning that guides people's actions. It identifies new verticals and opportunities for the organization. And finally, it defines the scope of work and priorities based on informed decisions. And the list goes on. Now that we've talked about what user research is, who they are, when to do it, and its benefits, let's go ahead and figure out the types of research. There are 3 types of research when it comes to product development: market research, competitive research, and user research. Our main focus is on user research, but let's learn about what the other 2 research does. Market research is usually done when the organization seeks to understand consumer preferences and trends so they can craft their offerings to suit or assess viability in the market of new ideas. Competitive research is done when the organization seeks to understand the capabilities, both present and future, of competing organizations to possibly win customers away from them. Finally, user research is done when we observe humans in their natural and social context. We identify problems and a solution is crafted based on human needs. It also serves to evaluate if a solution works for people who might use it. Market research and competitive research are a critical part of product development as well, but as designers, our daily jobs and responsibilities revolve around user research. So shall we move on to crafting user research? This is an initial design process in product development cycle. Here, since we're on sprint 0, we can refer this as the design discovery phase.
As I mentioned before, we have the ability to jump from both problem space and the solution space, where we can explore our end users' goals, responsibilities, pain points, and wish lists, and bring them to our design space before it gets fully developed in this phase. I won't get too deep into this design process, but feel free to take a screenshot if needed. Now that you know where user research fits into the design process, let's learn about different methods of testing. What do you think are the yin and yang of user research? Moderated versus unmoderated tests, user interview versus usability testing? All true, but I'd say it's qualitative research versus quantitative research. Qualitative research is sometimes called soft research. It answers questions like, why didn't people see the call to action? Or what else did people notice on this page? And it often takes the form of interviews and conversations. In short, qualitative research helps us understand why people do the things they do. On the other hand, quantitative research is any research that can be measured numerically. It answers questions such as how many people clicked here or what percentage of users are able to find the call to action. Metrics like NPS are quantitative. It's valuable in understanding statistical likelihoods and what is happening on a site or in an app. There are different variations of research methods and they fall under the category of either qualitative or quantitative research, but how do I know which one is right for my study and what each methods are for, right? I asked the same kind of question when first starting out with user research. Let's take a look at this chart. And here I've created a simple flow chart that can help you to decide which study to create. Let's go through it together. How do you want to approach your study? I'd like to keep it unmoderated. How do you want to collect insights? I want to see how people use my product. Yes, then it's usability testing. Perfect. See, that was easy. Please feel free to use this chart to choose and create the right testing for your product. Now that you know which research method to use and apply, before running the actual studies, we need to create a solid plan for our research. Here you can find information you might want to consider adding to your research plans. Title, author and stakeholders, date, background, goals, research questions, methodology, participants, schedule, and studies. It's not always the use case to write all these down for each research you do, but it definitely is helpful to write these down somewhere since you would need to mention these points when you're sharing your research findings with your stakeholders during presentation. Speaking of stakeholders, who are my stakeholders? Who gets involved prior to the study? It's of course different by each company and each teams, but in high level, there are 5 people or teams involved prior to the study. Research participants, design lead or manager, user research team, PMs, and you. It's important to protect the information involved when conducting studies. Non-disclosure agreements or NDAs and privacy policy statements help us to ensure that we can conduct research in a safe environment and gain full transparency with the research participants involved. So make sure to put them in your UR checklist. Now to study checklist. This was the most commonly used and helpful sources for my fellow designers. In here, we clearly state what's needed pre-study, during study, and post-study, just like how there's a checklist for what to pack for your next travel. Pre-study checklist involves legal documents completed, research participants confirmed, research materials prepped, people ready to go with detailed questions for you to ask yourself. During study checklist involves research method tasks, functional tools, and operations. Post-study checklist involves study wrap-up, post-communication, and research synthesis. Great, that's it. Here are a few Q&As I've put together for everyone, so feel free to take a look at them. I'll make sure to link this presentation down below in the description box for everyone to download for free. Thank you for watching this video until the end.
Hope that was helpful for everyone, and leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions regarding UX. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and see y'all next time. Bye. Bye.